scary. Wait, I forgot to delete the old recording, so let me delete that real quick, and then I'll start streaming. You see, it's all a circle. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Please send help. Please send help. I've gone off the deep end. I can delete that one video that's like 5 gigs, and then I'll have plenty of room for the new video. Because I already have that all exported and all good. Yeah, that leaves me 5 gigs, so that leaves me 5 hours, even though I'm not going to probably be streaming for 5 hours because, you know, yeah, okay. That was, Bum 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 bum. Yesterday? Okay, today. On a bum 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 bum. Is that the message? Oh yeah, yeah, that's the message from the ad dude. Beep 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 beep. Do. I don't know what I'm doing. I gotta pee. Why do I gotta pee like immediately when I start? I time these things super well. I'm really good at timing things and being pleasant and positive, and I'm saying things. Someone push the save me button. There's a save me button. Push it. Bail out of the conversation. There's a bail out of the conversation button, right? Where you just push the button and it just immediately bails you out of the conversation. That's a thing, right? That is definitely a thing, right? You like push the button and then you just go like whoosh, and it's just like parachute, and it definitely doesn't get stuck in like the rafters, and then like in the roof, and then you get like chopped up by fans and all that. Even though that's not realistic to how actual fans work, because actual fans are too what is it? What is the word? Dull. Ugh. Okay. Let's start this shit. Okay, let's start this shit. Oh wait, I have to exit Discord because it's gonna lag my computer. Because my computer's a crap top, and I don't get a new one because Amazon is being annoying and not letting me says I don't own the debit card, even though I'm own the debit card. It's really annoying. Anyway, let's do this. Okay. Hello, say good. Wait, where's my phone? That's so I can get chat. Where's my phone? Where phone? Fuck, where'd it go? It's in my pocket. It's in my pocket. Okay, cool. Yes, I know you have autosave game. You tell me that every single time I start up. It's like, you know you have autosave, right? It's like, thanks, I haven't been playing the game. Okay, so this will probably... This might... Okay, so if there's a cutscene, it might lag. I'm just gonna warn you straight up. It might be super laggy. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath.
It's not lagging!
Time, there came
What?
from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Okay, so... Oh, it didn't tell me. Okay, 9:37 a.m. on board a ship.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery.
Yeah, it's lagging a bit.
In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture.
Oh yeah, that lag.
Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary.
Oh yeah, that lag.
In less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. An cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Dude, I love how the cutscene superbly lags. It's great.
Who are you, and where have you come from?
Even the subtitles are lagging.
British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Holmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Pure silence. That is all I need. Pure silence. Silence. My favorite cut. Dude, I love my animated cutscenes with no sound because the sounding's lagging from the game, even though it's working pretty much fine. Oh, the cutscene's over. Okay. The voice acting wasn't half bad in that cutscene though. It was actually pretty good. Which means Ace Attorney is actually somewhat getting good English voice actors. Because I remember in the 5th game they were not super great. They weren't very good. I don't remember them being that great in the 6th game. Mainly because I don't remember any of the cutscenes from Spirit of Justice. I don't remember any of them. I don't remember any of them. So basically, I think the cases in this game are references to Sherlock Holmes stories. As this one is called the Case of the Unexpected Speckled Band, which the Speckled Band is an actual Sherlock Holmes story. It's about I think it's about a woman who dies, and all she says is she saw a speckled band at the end, and then you find out it's like this dude who put a snake through her room and killed her. I think that's what it was. I roughly, I read it, but I don't remember any of it. I remember I read some Sherlock. I read 3 when I was a kid. One of them was, I think, not the Scarlet Letter, but it was about Irene Adler. The second one was a speckled band, and the third one was something about a robbery. Then I read Hound of the Baskervilles, which is one of the more famous ones. Anyway, story. Oh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. Ah, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? So, you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. I'm trying to do a Russian accent. It's probably terrible. I'm sorry. You. Ha. You found me then. Da, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Ah, sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that? Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato. Wait, what? What did you just say? Take his life? Um, where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend to not know. You do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please. Do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No, I've been charged with another murder. Why? I have been charged with 2 murders in the span of a month. Stop. Oh no, wait, the first one happened in November, and this one is in January. 2 months. I've been charged with 2 murders in the span of 2 months. It's just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It's really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. How small is Ryunosuke that he can fit inside that? What is that, like 2 feet tall? That's gotta be like 2.5 feet tall. How did he fit inside that? That's like 2 feet tall and maybe a foot across. How? Ryunosuke, how? How flexible are you? Is Ryunosuke just like, he's just like a folding chair. You just fold him in half and you can store him in anything. It's even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. If you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. Get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. Get in the closet. get in the goddamn closet. No, it's cramped, but you'd better get in there. I think it won't be for long. Anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. And he's dead. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England. Together. We leave you at the next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Nah, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but... Murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ah, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. She will destroy him. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try and find out what really happened. It says keep out in Japanese, although I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. Certified lawyer, my best friend. He was on his way to London for a study tour when he was taken from this world. The epitome of a refined Japanese lady. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. That's true, yes. Oh, okay. About the incident. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far in this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at this cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now, I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ah, my head feels so heavy. Still throbbing like anything. Stowaway. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? Oh yeah, we're getting smuggled to England. It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. You know, the one where we found the British lady guilty, and then she didn't go to trial. Remember that? Remember that? You remember that? You were accused of murder, remember? You remember. You remember. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. Or something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. The trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazuma. I don't understand. Why? Kazuma, no. Kazuma is dead. He is dead. Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Yeah. What the? That was a Susato takedown. Okay. A Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. He's expecting me to present some She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. My university collar pin! Of course! That's the point. That's it, guys. It's the university collar pin. It must be. It's gotta be this.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But after I was truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. I guess Naruhodo is just fine with being upside down. He doesn't care. Ryunosuke doesn't care. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm sorry. No, you're still a loser. I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you, to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I won't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. God, I know you know magic. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Okay. Bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum. So I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Niet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there. He seemed a little flustered. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using B and M, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. Still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. Stares at you. There'd be no possibility of using that trick. Stares. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? She goes at me like that. I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard this SS Buria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? My man's getting roasted. Oh, I don't like either connotation. I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mown down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. The way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Ooh, I gotta pee. I'll be right back. I gotta pee real bad. I can't hold it in. I am back. For the 2 people that are here. Yee. We be gaming. Chat is also super dead, which sucks. I need someone to liven chat up. Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Okay. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. That means you are responsible! That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how the plate ended up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Bum, 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 bum. Can I look at the sword? There it is. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Sorry, I'm like itching my eye. There's crap in my eye. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Natsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments. Was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized a foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. I can't touch the ink bottle, that's weird. I guess I can't look at the ink bottle. Just making sure. Yeah, I can't touch the ink bottle. Lamp. Okay, desk. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hello, Rose. Hey, yeah! And I'm upside down. Sorry. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read these private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Boop, 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 boop. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? The freak? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. Last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Ah. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy. That's all. She's disappointed. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. If its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. Oh, hi! Oh, hi there! How's it going? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious, and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it? Or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can... I know. Alright then, I'll give that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Oh, hi there. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Oh, I can hear my computer going. Computer fan is going. Maybe I should leave him alone. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings, I hope I haven't kept you long. What exactly were you doing in Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It's really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, but being as you are a merciless revolutionary. How do you know I was Russian? This dude is amazing! You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And, when the bare-ribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. He just said I was Russian. We were from the same country. What are you talking about? What? And you're planning a revolution. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way I... And I'm on the floor. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. But was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right! Ha. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. Hi. How are you missing me? I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable. I'm just gonna call him Sherlock Holmes because that's what he's. Why he's.
It's not his name.
It's what his name is supposed to be. I'm sorry. Do you have a problem?
I'm gonna copyright your stream.
Alec, they literally took an S, moved it to the last name, and said, "Ah, we're fucking good." It's Sherlock Holmes, you know. Definitely not related to Sherlock Holmes in any way, shape, or form. No, no way. Okay, so we're in cuffs because this is chapter 2. In chapter 1, we successfully defended ourselves from being accused of murder. And now in chapter 2, the person who was helping us not do that, Kazuma, is dead. And we're the main suspect again because we were in the cabin. And the cabin was locked. And we were the only one in the cabin. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes? The actual Sherlock Holmes. The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no air. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. This was actually how Sherlock Holmes stories were written, I believe. They were written in a magazine, I think, mostly. Like, they were like a publication in a magazine. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England, especially. Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am! And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer? Do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Watson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Watson? Also, Dr. Watson was the first victim. The victim in the first case. Yeah, Dr. Watson was the first victim. Dr. John H. In this game, he's called John H. Wilson because, again, copyright. They can't call him Watson without getting from the fucking people who actually own the copyright to Sherlock Holmes. Apparently, it's copyrighted. You can't use the names. Mistake, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. I love his pose. Why, this that very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only. Sherlock Holmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It is none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herr Sherlock Holmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Holmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Holmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left for the victim on the floor. I don't know what that says. I can't pronounce that.
It says wardrobe.
Yes, let me say the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do
just
it.
looking at the letters.
Do it!
That's the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Yeah, Kazuma was Russian. It's definitely a Russian name. Initially, I considered Garderob may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. If my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. You know, traditional dress of the Russian people.
Yeah.
I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. Photograph of the crime scene has been added. Can I ask you something, Mr. Holmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that. Ah yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Koheo. Certainly, if it interests you. That's not. I did not pronounce that word right at all. That did not.
I'm making a wild guess here.
How many times I'm not Russian? I don't speak Russian. I don't speak Russian. Leave me alone. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik. Villain His first name is Villain. Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Bolshevik. His first name is Villain. He might be a villain. I don't know, guys. He might be the hero, though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The game is giving me conflicting messages. I'm getting some conflicting messages here. This vessel made a call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Holmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No, how can it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. I can't argue with that logic. You know what? That's some good logic right there. Since I'm a revolutionary, I must be able to, you know, revolutionize everything. Ah, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and pinted all these particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Yeah, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thanks. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. So I'm his rubbish bin.
You're trash.
It's a subtle message. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. Couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Let's do that. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despised his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Holmes. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at its picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, don't you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Holmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She's, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. I've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim! Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic! And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely, this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, milkadoo, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. This diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you'd be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Holmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into... Okay. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? Oh, there it is. As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. And if I'm still too long, the vomiting begins. The rampant vomiting. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? The great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it, only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Holmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So, what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Huh? Oh, that was... I accidentally took the court record. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? You must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... And on the floor. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no. It's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help but feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped. Twitch hates you. Twitch hates everyone, I think. I think Twitch legitimately hates everyone. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Never expected to see this man on board. Or perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I am undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. This Russian man will snap you like a fucking twig. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. I'm gonna shove this evidence in your face. That's the wrong button. God damn it. I'm about to shove this evidence right in your face. Yeah. Alec, just go like the book, just slam it in his face and go.
Read.
Joke's on you. I'm illiterate. Ha! What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kasuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill." A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. What I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? Oh, he coughed. I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. That is the least I can do. Thank you. I seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Move. First class cabin on the SS Bureau. "9th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Bureau. First class cabin passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. Oh, this is Ryunosuke. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's so spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. Door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Oh wait, space. No, I didn't mean to press that, damn it. Cheese. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But, yeah, I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruto-san? You mustn't touch it. This is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, excuse me, we need to get inside this cabin here. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. This looks like a plan of the SS Burya. It shows each deck, look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. I mean, you're not wrong, but you're also wrong. Well, I suppose so. See the islands. They're there, so they work. That's how it works. That's a huge book up top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, it looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. I wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Sorry, I'll be right back. Gotta blow my nose. I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Let's do this. Let's talk to the Russian. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer? That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother give me name. I am senior crewman, Biff Stroganov. Biff Stroganoff. Oh, I just got the pun. Is that how you pronounce his name, Beef? How you pronounce it in Russian?
I mean, it might be Biff, but you know, I can't unsee beef.
Beef Stroganoff. Let's go. Whew. Best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Bureau steamship for very important persons. Sort of very important persons. Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I am always guarding it. That is why I am always guarding... I can't speak. Really bad Russian accent. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Ah! Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like, da. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been to sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov? Da, all the time, so criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hit! Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a No. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises? Or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said, no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area, staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. When the lobsters are on top of the mountain.
They're whistling.
Good, now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Okay. Oh, wait. That book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it, too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna go in the cabin. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Knock knock. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Holmes. I shan't be stopped. When no fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please wait, Mr. Holmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how in the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prank can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Ninth of January. First class cabin number 2. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you! Now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I'm a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now, otherwise, I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Mr. Roylat, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh. I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now. This isn't going terribly. We're not getting anywhere here. I agree. There may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylat. Mr. Roylat, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Do not want to talk. Oh, it's the same thing. What do you think you're doing? Ah. This is my cabin! Get out! Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No! Yeah, what a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree. There may be someone else who can help. So that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylat. Hey, Sherlock, why are you in a cupboard? Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Holmes? You need only address me as Holmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Holmes, what are you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. Oh, and it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually. You're spot on. For once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylat, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. So many greats.
He is the great Sherlock Holmes. Without an S. And with an S.
Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? Yes. I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Holmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence! What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylat, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? No? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are At this very moment, no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Holmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Holmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Holmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say. Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place? Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand? Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front-page article. Which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. The spotlight is great. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there! Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. From there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline could lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction, the Russian enigma, Elemensky. Yeah, he's very wrong if you couldn't tell. Based on all the question marks, he's very wrong. Susato-san. That wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Holmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Holmes, could you come over here a moment? Bray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, this is a newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Holmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Oh, that was not Holmes. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old into that 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. You just gotta, come here, Timmy, get in the case. Get in the case, Timmy. Just start smashing the case. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lightness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Holmes. Ugh, this whole thing is turning it into a circus. You are not a clown, you are the entire circus. Starhardo, something has occurred to me about Mr. Holmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Ms. Susato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Holmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ha ha ha. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Ah, what? Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Holmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Load it. Is an enormous pair of shears in your hand? Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san. See if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the scene of Mr. Holmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly is Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Are you looking at the buttons on his coat? Could it be that Mr. Roylott was planning to cut these off? Oh, why? Well, when you're wearing thick gloves, it can be very hard to undo buttons. Then, couldn't you just take off your gloves first? Aha! So he was going to use the scissors to cut his gloves off then. You're an idiot. I want you to take a deep breath and look at this from a fresh perspective, Naruhodo-san, because you are dumb as a brick. Oops, I think she's angry. The thick hat. It's a very thick hat, isn't it? Ah, that's a secret, you see, Naruhodo-san. Don't you know? Secret? What? Well, before he left Japan, it took some time to study various foreign countries. Russia is a land of unimaginable cold, and a thick hat is the secret to keeping warm. Without one, I read that your brain would freeze. That was just one of many fascinating snippets of information in Oh Mother, Not Russia. Oh Mother, Not Russia. I think maybe you picked the wrong book there. Huh. I wonder what's suspicious here. What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? How is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true, so it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed! You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts of Mr. Holmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly... Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Holmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try and hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head! Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Ballerina on the run. Solved. Wrongdoing. Well, this is obviously wrong. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Da! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Got my nose bothering me. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruto-san. God damn it. You like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Holmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Huh, I wonder. It's a very small case, isn't it? You can see instantly that no person could possibly fit inside there. So does that tell us that Miss Pavlova's telling glance in this direction was focused on something else? That's true, though. It doesn't make sense. What do you mean? Well, if there's nothing incriminating inside this case, why did she refuse to let us look inside? Yes, I wonder why. Perhaps she has a perfectly harmless reason, though. The wastepaper basket? Let's have a little look inside. Naruhodo-san, it's poor etiquette to go stifling through someone's rubbish, you know. Ah, those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruto-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
Yes!
It's a tiara. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Duh! I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully, taking their precious tiara with you. Ah! I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? Dumb. My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escaped my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'ol betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the books on the shelf. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Holmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? Just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written on a book, in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true. But still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. And there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area. That's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. This is a charming little picture, isn't it? What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside? Or descending one, it seems to me. When you've been on the flat sea for a while, maybe you start seeing hills and mountains and everything. Ah, it looks like these are all the same books that we have in our cabin. I suppose the steward likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for the long voyage. And have you noticed how all the books have fallen over, just like in Kazuma-sama's cabin? It's almost like someone's taken a sweep at them. Maybe Miss Pavlova, while she was practicing her ballet? Anyway, the point is, we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. We couldn't even if we wanted to. They're all in Russian. Well, that's a relief. Let's try our luck elsewhere. It's a metal door, the same as in Kazuma's cabin. Yes, and the rather slim bolt is the same as well. Well, if Miss Pavlova was actually glancing over at the door here instead of the bookcase, that would suggest a desire to run away from this cabin. Maybe. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhodo-san. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. Also, I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? I know what it is. It's the rules of passage. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. Die. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage a pet? Ah! We did it. Elementary. We did the deduction. Yay. Deduction. Woo. Deducing. We deduced the thingy. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimsby Royla. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Burya is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you, about to cut off your own hair, who was it to let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, not other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself, so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You are right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew. Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Holmes' great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. And one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I've restored your shackles. When and why? There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Woo! Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh! That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine! I need it to live! I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell! Don't tell any of the crew! If they found my precious! Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Ah! So reassuring, Mr. Holmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call. Daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Burya stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you came to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. Dude, I have my phone open for Twitch chat, and there's no point to it because there's nobody in Twitch chat. God damn it. Fuck it. The minute I put the phone to the side, there's going to be like an explosion in Twitch chat. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Holmes once said, I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. Since Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Fuck, wrong button. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh! Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh? Knock, knock. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave. Now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! The passenger said out. Do you want me to throw you out? God, looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. So we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, you were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. Bum 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 bum. Investigation Part 2. 9th of January. First class cabin passageway. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Really wish we'd had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why do you look like that? Well, you want something? Maybe you'd want me to throw you out again, Oh, no. Definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand? Understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he will ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san. Cheese. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. Anyway, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga has managed to uncover any new clues. Yes, we should probably find him and ask. That door leads to the second class area. It's locked. I can't open it. No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. Ninth of January. SS Peria. First class cabin. Number 1. Looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject. I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. You, where did you go? Oh, sorry. I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosonaga did. That's new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into bar and throw him in courtroom. Phew, he's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a stake at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Let's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilled on the floor. And they spelled the Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there. To be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words, or word, in Russian, which begs the question of who did write it. This is where Kazuma spent his final moments, writing his diary. 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator's grill. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. Ah, fuck. What's going on? What happened? Oh, hello, Rose. You're back. I wasn't looking at my phone. Because no one was saying there was nothing in chat, so I stopped looking at my phone for 2 seconds, and then people talk, and then I know you've been here. Other books for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf. They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember. Oh yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you? You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabins leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. Ah, you're back. Inspector, what happened to you? Your face is... Please don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Maybe a bear, maybe. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. Do you like my impeccable Russian accent, Rose? My impeccable, 100% superb Russian accent that is totally not offensive or really bad in any way, shape, or form. No. Okay. What are you talking about? It's the best Russian accent you've ever heard. Definitely, 100%. Incredibly accurate. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little more about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes? I don't think he was German, though. That explains it. Do you have Russian friends? No. I do not have Russian friends. Shall we compare notes then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. That's why it sucks. I'm sorry, okay? I'm trying here, okay? What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. I've heard of Pokemon Masters. It's like that phone game. It's a phone Pokemon game. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there's one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. Oh, Mr. Holmes is here, was he? Yes. He seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? Wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass. Do you see? Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes, that must be it. But how could Mr. Holmes know that it's shoe polish? Oh, you have to hash them? That's weird. I mean, I guess it's not weird. It's just, like, different. That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? Sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Burya's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh? Kazuma's post-mortem report? Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae. That's what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Ah. Postmortem report has been entered into the court record. That's all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewman's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing, too. Victim, male, Far Eastern, time of death somewhere between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. Cause of death, damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. So this ventilator joins Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before that he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. It really is such a beautiful color, this glass. Looks like whatever it was broken clean in two. The other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's the brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to know all about. I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes. Maybe. What I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else? This game is whack. Because he's a great detective, of course. That's hardly a reason, is it? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Puria. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules. She called it her friend, didn't she? Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes as yet. Oh, Rose, we haven't even gotten to the British. We haven't even gotten to Britain yet. Oh boy, you wait until we get to Britain. Ooh boy. I'm almost certain that whatever it is is inside the traveling case in her cabin. I'm a friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. What else do I have to investigate? What you checked everything? Here. Oh, that's where I was supposed to go. Okay. Let's generate. Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san. Seaman Stroganov is gone. Strong enough? The burly Russian sailor is always crossing his arms and glaring at us. Ugh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la, the relay. I did it in the great detective way. That caroling. Caroling, I know that lark-like voice. Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely before that stringy knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganov, not Stringy Knot. You know, Sir Stringy Knot. Oh, hi, Sherlock. Oh, it's Mr. Holmes, look. Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la, lee-ra-lee-ra-lay, I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when the word was doubt, it's lucky Sherlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all, and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Oh, you didn't rhyme. God damn you. Holmes, why didn't you rhyme? Mr. Holmes! Ah! What is it, you want to fight? Hmm? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, that was just about to reach a climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any. I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now, could you put those fists away? Judy's about to punch me in the face. Mr. Holmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... Laughter! You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever you mean, Mr. Holmes. Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman oft stands at entry in this first class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes? Nothing to report? Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean? Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribbling nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Holmes Holmes. Brilliance! Maniacal laughter. Ooh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, until that next encounter. He's still singing to himself. You can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too? Hmm. Ninth of January. First class cabin number 2. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. It's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. I suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Do boo 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 do boo boo boo. Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here. Yes? Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone can fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Oh, that's the same thing. I don't care. Let me skip. I accidentally clicked the same thing. I'm sorry. So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Ah, maybe. It's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too. Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug, too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody can enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the closed door either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, the SS Buria's rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean. I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. She's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh, yes. So do I. All the books have toppled over together. Look. Every single one. Do you think that's a good god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a different ballet pose and fell against the bookcase? I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage? Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Nice. I assume 50k is good. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret, because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buria. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. More to the point, where is it now? Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Ah, what's that? Weird. Oh god, the nukes are coming! God damn it! Their nukes are coming, run! Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile 4. Full stop, hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? I can't stand. Susanoo-san, hold on to me. Wah! Susanoo-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think. Yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness! What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, that's Hosonaga. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What? The bolt? Look at that! The door is bolted. Did you do that, Susanoo-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? Better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. Do 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 do. Here, I'm gonna check something real quick. I'll be right back. No, I'm gonna get water. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. From bathroom and slash getting water. Let us continue. No, I already... Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to finish part 3 of the investigation tonight, because I gotta do D&D soonish. I don't know when, but, like... I'll try my best. I will try my best. This is just meant to be an early, shortish stream. But, like, D&D hasn't started yet, so, like... Somehow the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. And then entered... Russians! No, I'm kidding. I mean, technically I'm right, but, like... You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We did something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh? How did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos! Passengers are screaming! Crew are running everywhere! This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder, dressed all in black! You are the devil! Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case! How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man! I know he did it! He's a criminal! It is not enough that he has killed a man! Ah, and he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Ah. Take him away! He's a trespasser as well as everything else! Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right, you are devil! Doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck. Throw him in! Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. For my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Please, just give me a little more time. I do nothing for you. Except throw you away to ship's prison cell. Ah, thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone. And trespassing? And stowing away? Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and, well... Enough. You are guilty. Ship cell is only place fit for you. Come on, there has to be someone. Some savior to rescue me from this crisis. Miss Pavlova, can I... Get out! Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but... Get out, now! We just need to investigate in here to help understand what happened to... I can't read that. I don't know what that says. It's probably saying get out in Russian. Oh, it's no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will... You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. We need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Well, nothing strange about that. Guess we're fucked. I don't see anyone. Guess there's no one here to help us. I guess there's no one to help us. Nah. What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Holmes? He's got the tiara. This man's wearing the tiara. Naturally, I was analyzing what the weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is the report? Speak. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Nice, we get to... Is there another deduction? Ha! You have solved it? Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who's responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. Da, locked room, that is point. The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? Gah! You think this is... Hi. Hi. Okay, I will get ready. Yeah, it's a porn session. You figured it out. Yeah, it's porn. I'm streaming porn. That's what it is on Twitch. Anyway, I gotta go do some D&D. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and tomorrow might be able to stream Great Ace Attorney. If not, I'll stream Monday or Tuesday. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good night. Peace. Well, first I'll save. Have a good night. Peace.